Hi guys, Lazy Universe here, and this video let me explain. I kinda didn't know if I wanted to make this video, truthfully, because I have already for premiere on December 1st the top 10 best movies, and I was okay with doing that, and I didn't want to do a worst of thing because I think that too many people really do like the worst of list, but I was thinking around, and before next week, before the first, I was thinking, like, why don't I do a top 10 list of the contender films that almost made it on the best list? Because I have seen a lot of really good and impressive movies this year, and bar none, I have seen quite a lot of them. Even behind the scenes when I was working on Multi Movie Mondays with DVDs that either I picked up or that I own, um, was really fascinating of like how many movies I picked up behind the scenes and just watched and was like, man, that was good. And these are my top 10 picks for contenders. Now, honestly, not all of these movies I have reviewed, and some of them I do plan on reviewing next year, or if not next year, pretty soon on the channel. But I have watched a lot of movies, which leads me to ask you guys this question, and you guys can comment it down below. If I do other movie reviews aside from Multi Movie Monday, would you like me to do an actual review of it, like what Chris Tuckman kind of does, or would you like to see me just do like a vlog of it and just kind of like talk about it? Uh, Take your pick. I'm not saying that Multi Movie Monday is going anywhere, not unless I have a reason for getting rid of it. But these are the top 10 movies I've seen this year that just were contenders for the best. Now, let me just explain this really quickly. These are movies that I had to see this year. So, these could be movies from like the 1950s, the 80s, 60s, whatever have you, last year, a couple years ago. Doesn't matter. If I've seen them within this year on DVD, on TV, whatever have you, then it means that this counts for this list. So, with all that being said, and because I am such a nice guy, let's talk about my top 10 contenders for the best films I've seen this year. And the ones that almost made it on the list, but for one reason or another, did not. So, grab yourself a popcorn and grab yourself something to eat because we're not going to be here a while. This is the top 10 best contenders for best movies of 2022. At number 10, Predators. A film that Robert Rodriguez really wanted to do, Predators was a close crush into being on the best list, but it kind of failed for being not that great. The story for this movie is actually pretty fucking impressive, especially for Robert Rodriguez who thought of this scene up, and this was going to be the original Predator 2. On a godforsaken planet, a team of people, chosen for specific reasons, are chosen for the biggest hunt of the year, or the biggest hunt of the century. What hunt? The hunt to the right of the predators. Yep, the predators have become smart enough to abduct people to shoot them for a worldwide hunt. Believe me when I say this movie really could have been better. It's great, but for me, it could have really been more, especially with the aliens whatnot hunting the people that they chosen. It's not bad, I'll grant you that. I've watched it 3 times and it just kinda keeps getting better, but for one reason or another, it just couldn't make the list. But if you get the chance or the opportunity, I highly recommend checking out Robert Rodriguez's Predators. You might like it for all that it's worth, and you might be a bigger fan than I am. At number 9, District 9. I swear, this was not a convenience, it's just how I feel about the film. District 9 takes the found footage perspective but really transforms it into something immediately very impressive, especially for me. The film is mostly, for the most part, about a news reporter by the name of Ephraim. Ephraim goes into District 9 to try to get an interview, but not only finds out that the place is really run down, forgotten, obsolete, and that the aliens are trying to kill everybody as they can. I mean, why wouldn't they? Things take a turn for the worse when a couple of aliens make a device that they think will help them conquer the world, and it just so happens to be found by poor Ephraim. Ephraim finds out that they do work on the black market. He does find out something even more interesting. That whatever that he got sprayed with earlier takes a turn for the worse for poor Ephraim, and even gets all the more worse. Ephraim's wife does take him to the hospital to think that maybe whatever that he's suffering, it will be cured, right? Unfortunately, no. In the best twist of the movie, Ephraim becomes an outsider. Because he's becoming more alien, he is suddenly seen by his peers as an outsider, which is a pretty impressive take for this movie. District 9 has a very, very impressive story with a very impressive look on how, even for people, what we would consider, in quote, an outsider. Believe me when I say this movie was really, really close to being in my top 5, but I just couldn't do it for one good reason. Remember when I said that this film was an interesting found footage movie? It eventually stops becoming a found footage movie and just becomes an all-out action sci-fi film, which is, I guess, okay? But if the film had stayed a found footage film, including for a sci-fi action film, it really would have benefited, at least in my opinion. At number 8, The Family Man. Truthfully, I'm not the biggest fan of Nicolas Cage movies like some other people are, but Brett Ratner brought me a really surprising movie that I really wanted to see. Cage played a businessman named Jack who gave up a life of marriage so he could work on Wall Street and be happy counting his money like Ebenezer Scrooge. But when he interfered with the work of an angel, I would presume, played by Don Cheadle, his life changes drastically. Not only does he suddenly wake up in a place that he doesn't realize, but he has a family now, and he is now the Family Man. The Family Man is one of the most creative movies that I have seen this year. Something that I didn't think that I would like, but I was wrong. A lot of these movies on this list have surprised me in one way or another, and I really think that The Family Man does deserve some credit from me because it really did shock me. Believe me when I say that this is the most heartfelt, most entertaining movie I have seen this year, but I couldn't bring myself to consider it on the list. Hell no when I say that this is a bad movie because it is not a bad movie, but it could have been just a little bit more in my opinion. At number 7, Raya the Last Dragon. This really is one of the most creative and unique Disney films on this list, aside from the other one, but it's not hard to see why this film is so great. This film came out during the 2020 pandemic, and while it does look a little bit sticky in some areas, this film is by no means bad. The story is like an old school, if Star Wars was made by Japan, it had that old school but sci-fi feel to it, and it just looked so damn impressive. The animation is just some of the best that I have seen, period, within years of Disney, and it just showed that Disney is just getting better and better at their tactics. And the story, it just makes it all the more better with the really unique and impressive story that it has. Plus, the voice cast in this movie is brilliantly picked. I love the choice of Aquafina as the last dragon. Her voice is such a unique pick for this movie, but god damn it, she does all that she can do. If, for some obscure reason, you have passed on this movie, believe me when I say, you need to see this movie. You really should. This is again one of the most unique Disney films ever put to screen, but it's just goddamn amazing. Go see my review to hear everything and anything I had to say about this film because it really is a goddamn Disney masterpiece. At number 6, Hustlers. If you were to tell me that this is the most unique and inspired movie to ever come out in years and have a really good story, I'd call you crazy. But not only does this movie have a great story and a really impressive cast, it's just one of the best movies to see, period. The movie is actually about a strand of hookers that seem to have gotten famous during the crash of 2008, and for one reason or another, they just made a lot of money. But how? All I can say is you have to watch this movie to figure out how they decided to make their money because, God bless them, they do a great job at this. Okay, granted, the way that they do it was very, very, very illegal and nobody should ever attempt it or try it, but just watch how they made their money creatively in this movie. Also, this movie goes into the ways of how a stripper can really have the hardest life, truthfully, and if you don't think that they do, you'd be wrong. There is a reason why this movie is rated hard R, but God bless it that it's just an impressively very good, amazing movie with a great story. They brought themselves from basically their heaven, their Mount Olympus, and came crashing down hard on Earth to find out just what they did, and notice what they did was terribly wrong. Again, this movie begged to be seen, and if you're not checking this movie out yet, please do. It is just a great, superb, and fantastic movie. At number 5, Warm Bodies. This is one of the most creative romance horror comedies that I've ever seen, but it's so good. The movie takes place from a point of view of a zombie named R, who is not unlike the other zombies. But things change when he meets the love of his life and actually ends up saving her from another zombie. That's pretty impressive. And you would think that he probably would have eaten this girl, but no, he does everything in his power to protect her, and he's just a big teddy bear, but he's dead and can kill you. This is another great movie that has to show you what an outsider, especially for a zombie, can really look like to another person, especially for the woman that he loves. At first, as you'd expect, they don't get along, but eventually they get an awkward, quirky relationship that just works for these two. Whether these two had an off-screen relationship or not, I don't know, but the way that they show up on camera is just really, really good. Warm Bodies is really close to being in my top 5 best movies of this year, but unfortunately some of the other movies have pushed it down or pushed it out of the realm. If you want to take a look at a really unique but handsomely crafted horror comedy, and even a romance comedy at that, I really recommend checking out Warm Bodies. You will not be disappointed. Number 4, Brightburn. This film is basically like fucking Superman if he was turned evil, though he was raised by the Kents. The film was about a young couple in Kansas known as the Breyer family who just so happened to find a son who is actually an alien. But while they raised the boy to be well and, to be a great crafted young man and everything, there was always something dark behind the scenes about him. For example, they notice that his attitude starts to change. Way even before he gets superpowers, he starts acting out of the abnormal. But then they start noticing, well, again, he is going through puberty, he has a secret porn stash as well. Lucky kid. This movie goes off the rails when the kid finds out he had superpowers very similar to the Man of Steel. I think the only reason why this film wasn't on the list is kind of a stupid reason, but a good one nonetheless, is that there is no other movie quite like this one. I really hope that they make more of these films, especially a superhero horror film, because this is one of the most impressive movies I have seen, period. If you're looking for a unique, uncanny, and really twisted horror film, I highly recommend Brightburn. Just take heeding that this film is not for everybody, okay, audience? Just a heads up. Number 3, Django Unchained. Django Unchained is one of the most unique and impressive films to ever come out of Tarantino, and for a guy that doesn't really like westerns, this was a goodie. A slave known as Django, played by Jamie Foxx, just so happens to meet a bounty hunter that changes his life for the better. Now, because I have a black girlfriend and black friends, this film is not for them unless they can handle the racist terms. Believe me when I say that this was an impressive film for me, especially as someone who is not very keen on westerns. If you like Kill Bill, or if you're a fan of Tarantino's other works, you would really like Django Unchained. And also, Leonardo DiCaprio plays a really convincing villain as Calvin Candy in this movie. Seriously. But for a really inspired, really unique, and heavily really awesome movie, I recommend Django Unchained. You won't be disappointed. Number two is Disney Pixar's Onward. Just the story, the pure story behind this movie alone would have put it on this list, but I digress. The film mostly takes the point of view of Ian Lightfoot, voiced by the infamous Tom Holland. But unfortunately for him, he's a very sympathetic character because he lost his dad when he was young, never getting the chance to know who his father was because he died due to a sickness. This film almost made it onto my top 10 list, but it just was blown out of the water by the Contenders. But let me say this, it's one of the most unique Disney films I've ever seen. Mostly, why people should see this movie is let alone the story. It's a really impactful and really great, amazing story. Now, let me tell you, I am known as the 27-year-old who really still loves and enjoys Disney cartoons, but I am so sorry to all the Disney fans for not having this on my best list. But when you see what's actually on my best list, you might forgive me. But all in all, please check out Disney Pixar's Onward. It's a really great Disney movie, and for good reasons. And at number one, no joke, the one that probably would have been number one on the best list, is Where the Wild Things Are. I'm not joking. When I saw this movie at my local thrift store, I was surprised that I would like it as much as I do, and really it's amazing. The story is told mostly through the perspective of a little boy named Max, who doesn't seem to have the best life in the world of today. But after a fight that he had with his mother, he runs away to a mysterious island. He meets the titled monsters from the original book, and quite awfully, they're not CGI'd. These are swear to God, practical effects and people in costumes, but just look at them. This was really, really close to being my number one pick of best movie of this year, but I could not do it because I owed it to one film. But this, in no way, is a bad movie. This is a great, fantastic movie that more people should be watching. The more heartfelt thing about this film is the fact that it's from the perspective of a kid. A frickin' kid, and it has more heart than a lot of other films, granted. When I say it's through the perspective and eyes of a kid, I really mean that. The kid lies, the kid makes up stories, the kid does everything that he can, but that's because Max is only that. He's just a kid. Max has the most heart of this movie and is probably the best character of a movie I have seen, and coming from a child actor, that's saying a lot. This really should have been a contender for my number one pick, but unfortunately it wasn't. That's why I have to give it the highest of honorable mentions. Whether you love children's films or you really, really love the book growing up, please, please watch Where the Wild Things Are. And there you have it, folks. Those are my top 10 picks for best contenders for the best films of this year. I know that some of them I haven't reviewed yet, but I do plan on doing them. I just have to line them up to other movies that I really want to review. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please like, comment, subscribe, share around the web. Be sure to follow me at Twitter with the link in the description down below. And be sure to watch my December 1st video where I talk about the best movies of the list. I'm pretty certain some of the picks may not surprise a lot of people, but I guarantee that a lot of them will. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And like I said, I've seen just a lot of really good movies this year, totally, especially on DVD mostly. So please forgive me for not adding all of them on the list. I really could have, but then that video would probably be like 5 parts long, so we don't need that. So anyways, thank you everybody so much for watching. Please be sure to check out my top 10 best movies list. And until next time, guys, I hope to see you then.